Today, I'm sharing with you a mindset block that is holding you back from taking action and getting to your finish line. This comes up for me all the time, so there is no shame today, but I want to point it out and I want to offer you a way through it. Are you ready? Let's get started.
Hey there, this is Corinna Bench, and welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast. In today's market, it's not enough to just grow your product. You've got to know how to sell it too. Welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast, where we reveal online marketing strategies and tips to help farmers like you get better and more confident at marketing. Learn how to find more customers, increase your sales, and build a strong brand for your farm. Let's start the show.
Well, welcome to episode 261 of the My Digital Farmer podcast. I am your host, Corinna Bench, one of the farmers at Shared Legacy Farms in Elmore, Ohio. I'm also the founder of mydigitalfarmer.com, which is all about trying to help other farmers like you get more confident in your marketing and sales strategy so that you can grow a profitable farm business. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to the show. Big shout out to all of my regular listeners. And raise your hand if you've been binge listening. I see you. That is so awesome. Hey, if you're new to the podcast, I'm really glad you're here today. Make sure that you subscribe to the show and go check out my first 10 episodes. They were designed to be an on-ramp into the marketing lingo. And so if you have no idea what's going on when it comes to marketing, that's a great place to start. Or you can just scroll through the archives and start with whatever catches your eye. I have over 250 episodes, so there's tons of free content there to get you to your finish line. Another great place to go to get better at marketing is to get on my email list, because when you do, I am going to send you an email roughly every 5 days, 5 to 7 days for about 2 months, and it's going to walk you through the jungle of marketing. I'm going to share with you the key principles you need to know, the tools you need to have in your arsenal, the influencers you should be following, and the stuff you need to be building first to kind of help you build your whole marketing system. It's really good. I get a lot of good feedback on it from farmers. And you can get that by subscribing at mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe. Today's podcast is sponsored by my friends at LocalLine. Well, it's here. LocalLine's own point of sale POS feature is now available. The LocalLine team has been committed to building the best sales software for farmers, producers, and food hubs, and payments are a huge part of that. Local Pay, which is LocalLine's own payment gateway, offers farmers an alternative to standard credit card processors like Stripe and Square. With Local Pay, you can save on credit card fees. You can accept ACH payments. And now you can even accept in-person payments with a POS device. They built this feature because not every transaction happens online. And as a LocalLine customer, you need a way to accept in-person payments, but keep your inventory in sync. Their point of sale feature is included with every LocalLine subscription. And you can purchase POS devices directly through LocalLine. Are you looking to switch to sales software that does it all? Because subscriptions to LocalLine start as low as $49 a month, everyone, with no setup fees or sales percentages. Plus, if you join LocalLine today, your onboarding manager will migrate your storefront at no cost. So you'll be able to be up and running in no time. We love LocalLine, highly recommend them. And as a bonus, as a podcast listener, LocalLine is offering a free premium feature for 1 year with your subscription when you sign up using my coupon code. So go to mydigitalfarmer.com/LocalLine and then enter the coupon code MDF2024. Make the switch today. Join LocalLine. And now back to the show. So today I'm going to start out with something new that I'm adding to the podcast. I wanted to include a section where I read a review or a testimonial or an email that's sent to me by a farmer that kind of talks about how they are making progress thanks to what they're learning here on the show. And so today I want to read a note that I actually got in the mail. And this one comes from Sarah Easton. She lives in Fontana, Kansas. And I wanted to read this because it was so sweet. She says, "Dear Corinna, I wanted to take the time to profoundly thank you for all of the training and resources you provide for farmers entering into the marketing space. As a raw dairy farmer, I've learned so much from you and have binge listened to most of your My Digital Farmer podcasts over the past 6 months. Your training has truly revolutionized what I imagine for our farm. And although I have not seen all of my dreams come to fruition yet, you have given me the tools I need to begin building my marketing infrastructure. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings, Sarah Easton." Well, Sarah, this made my day when I read this, and I wanted to tell you personally, since I know you're listening, how much it meant to me. So thank you for sending this to me. If you want to share a little note like that with me and possibly have it even right on the show, you can either mail me a snail mail note like Sarah did. You'll have to do some research and figure out where Shared Legacy Farms is. Look it up on Google and send me a little card. Or you can email me at mydigitalfarmers@gmail.com. Or you can go to my Apple Podcast review and leave a review there. So I would love to hear what you have to say, and I might even feature you on the show. So thanks, Sarah, for sending me that love. That was awesome. Today, we are going to do a little bit of a shift in topics because I'm not going to go super tactical on you today with a marketing tip. Instead, I wanted to share with you a little bit of mindset coaching. And this has come up for me recently, but I've also noticed it quite a bit with some of the farm members, the farmers that are in my membership, my farm marketing school membership. And this is a kind of a mindset or a thought that is holding a lot of us back from taking action in our marketing projects or in decisions that we have to make for our business. And I wanted to identify it and bring it up for you and just see if this is something you're also dealing with or if you recognize this beast when you look at it in the mirror. And what I want to discuss is what I call the one best right way trap. This is the idea, the myth, that there is one best right way to do something. And what often happens is that we stop taking action, we don't make a decision because we wait instead to collect more information, to try and figure out the right way to do things, or we're so worried that we're going to make a mistake and screw up if we take action too soon that we would rather just stay where we are and nothing ever changes. So recently this has come up in so many examples for my own business. I remember a few months ago at the end of our CSA season last fall, we had to decide whether or not we wanted to cut an entire pickup site location. This was the Port Clinton site. It only had about 25 to 30 members. It had been dropping every year, and it was a good 45-minute commute. I would sit there for 30 minutes, and then I would commute back. And the more I thought about it over time, I just thought, I wonder if I could drop this site and probably make up the difference in sales at the other 3 that we have, because 25 to 30 isn't really that many when you're talking about a CSA that's my size of like 400 to 450 people and the reach that I have and the email list that I have. So my husband and I talked about it for a couple of years, and every time that it was time to make the decision, we would chicken out and we're like, no, we can't do it. What if we can't make up those sales? I'm just worried that I'll get myself into a pinch. And there was also a part of us that was worried that we would really upset our customer base and they would be angry with us. So we just didn't want to take that step. And the decision came around again last year. And I just was beginning to really feel like, oh, I just don't enjoy this drive out to Port Clinton every single week. And it would be so great to have that time back and how much freedom that would give me to be able to do other things with it instead. And so I ultimately decided, let's do it. Even though I was scared to do it, I made the decision. Now, the reason I bring this up is because there were several years there where I probably could have made the decision, and I kind of wish I had, honestly, because I would have gotten that freedom a whole lot sooner. But the thing that held me back was this fear that the future wouldn't provide for me. That by making this decision now to cut off this option, that I would cut off potential opportunity in the future. Today's podcast is sponsored by Farm Marketing School. This is my monthly membership where farmers can come in and build marketing assets one at a time in special 30-day build projects that I've created for you. Right now, there are like 8 projects inside of Farm Marketing School, and every month a new one gets added, and you basically subscribe for 30 days, or you can stay in for a couple months or 3 months. You can stay in the whole year. But what you're doing is you go inside and you decide, this is the project that I want to work on. You take the class, the workshop class that's recorded, you just watch it, and then you build it yourself. So this is the DIY version of Accelerator. There's no coaching element or mastermind or Zoom meetups. It's just you going in there, watching the class that the accelerators saw live with me, and then working on it on your own. So if you're a DIY type of person and you think you can do it yourself, this is an amazing resource. There are projects in there for how to build a promotion plan, how to build your email nurture sequence, how to write a great weekly email, how to build the website homepage messaging, what goes on that homepage, how to build a lead magnet, and more. So if you want to see what's in the Farm Marketing School, you can head to mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS. And I encourage you to subscribe for 1 month. Check it out. I have a whole onboarding, like a crash course in marketing that I encourage you to take in your first week. There's an assessment inside of there that's going to help you know which elements you should build first. It's so good, and I would love it if you would give it a shot for a month. Let me know what you think, and if you decide you like it, you can stay in there for several months in the off season and get a ton of your marketing stuff done. Another example of where this has recently come up for me is actually with Digital Farmer. I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 months ago, when I was just before I was releasing Farm Marketing School as a product, I wasn't sure if I should do it. I really worried about whether or not it was time yet. I had been building all these projects with Accelerator, and I had these amazing project builds that I knew could help farmers build their marketing system. But I was worried, like, what would my accelerators think if I stopped doing Accelerator for a while and I created this whole other thing? And I was also worried about, what if it's not ready yet? Like, I don't know if I have enough projects in there. I wasn't sure if farmers would be interested in it, if this was the right way of pitching the offer, like how I bundled the services that come with the offer every month. And I just thought, this could be wrong. I could put this out into the world and nobody would want it. And then I'll feel foolish. And again, I almost didn't take action because what was tripping me up was this idea that there's like a best way to launch a product, or there's a certain right way to do it. There's one way to do it, and I'm just not quite there yet. I haven't figured it out, and I need to wait until all the stars align and everything is ready and it's perfect, and I can just put it out into the world. I want to ask you if you've ever felt something like this. I'm almost sure that you have. Now, your scenario is going to be different than mine, obviously, but where have you ever had the thought that it's not the right time yet, or I don't have it good enough, or this isn't the best way. I need to wait until the best way appears, or there's only one way to get there and this isn't it, and I have to find it. I have to wait. Today, I want to really challenge that thought because I don't think that that is an accurate mindset. I get challenged on this quite a bit when I'm in my personal coaching calls with my coach, Rebecca. I'll throw around the word right a lot when I'm talking things out. I'm like, well, it's just not the right way to do it, or it doesn't feel right. And she's constantly saying, there's that word right again. What if there isn't necessarily a right and a wrong? What if it's both and, right? She's sort of challenging me all the time to realize that I tend to think in black and white, in this or that, when sometimes it's both and. And this is sort of a similar concept. What if there isn't one best right way to get where you want to go? A few months ago, my husband and I were having a conversation in a diner up in Minnesota, when we were going to hear the St. Olaf Choir sing, one of my little getaway weekends. And actually, it was my birthday gift to myself for my 50th birthday. Anyway, we had a conversation about this idea of the decision tree. And if you know what a decision tree is, this is where you are given two options and you have to choose one or the other. And then once you choose, let's just say you choose B, option B, you have eliminated option A from future deliberation, right? It's gone. And once you hit option B, now there's another decision tree that comes off of option B. Now it's option C or D. And you have to choose one of those. So let's say you choose option C. And then off of option C, now new branches appear and you have the choice between two new decisions to make. And that this is sort of how we move through our life, that it's a constant process of pruning the decision tree, pruning off branches by making decisions, by taking action. We prune off one of the options on the tree, that branch is gone. And now we have to follow the remaining branch. And it will continue to shoot off new branches. That's the beauty, right, of this metaphor of pruning. You all farmers know that when you prune something, it actually causes new life to burst from the remaining branch. This is such a beautiful metaphor for me. And Kurt and I were discussing this as a great metaphor for life, for our decision process in our business, in our relationships, in our hopes and dreams for our family. Because we have a fear sometimes of taking action, of making a decision, because we're worried that by doing so, we're going to cut off that decision forever, and that there won't be that chance to discover, that first option later on, or that we'll regret that decision, that it will be the wrong, quote unquote, wrong decision. And what this decision tree metaphor kind of offers us is this idea that life is always moving. Life is always changing. It's never staying the same, which I think is actually super hopeful. And that the process of pruning off a decision is actually what you need to do in order to create the next obvious step for your future. Sometimes the best thing to do is to just take action, even if it's imperfect action, on your goals and dreams. And what that does is it creates new branches, new options on the other side of the decision you did choose. I am, dealing with this. I see evidence of this all the time. It continues to astound me how abundant the universe is. That when we trust and we take that trust fall step and we make a decision, we cut off that tree, that decision tree, we move into the new space. It's almost like God, the universe, chooses at that moment then to present me with new options. And I have come to trust in that. So even though I may not see those options now, and I look into the future and it seems fuzzy and unclear and sometimes, frankly, dark, I have learned enough to know that if I just keep moving forward and I trust and I just take a step, that is all that is required. That is all that it takes in order for the new branches, the two new options, to finally appear before me. This also reminds me a little bit of those Choose Your Adventure books. I just had this thought. Did you ever read those when you were a kid? I loved them. This is where you would read the story, and at the end of the page, it would say, If you decide to go to the right down the hall, go to page 41. If you decide to slide down the chute, go to page 52, right? And either choice, you're like, I don't know which one's going to lead to solving the puzzle and which one's going to lead to my death, right? So you had these high stakes in those choose your own adventure books. And it was always fun though, to like, just put yourself out there and see where the different storylines would go. And I would always eventually find the one that was the one that led to the golden ticket or whatever, right? But this is a lot how life works, right? We're choosing our own adventure. We're never quite sure what's going to be on the other side. It doesn't reveal itself, does it? Until we take action. And that is the beauty of it. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we had to hire some online store packers, and I needed to get 2 people. So I recruited them. I went out to my email list and I posted on social media, and I got like 5 or 6 people to respond. And so I started the process of setting up interviews with some of them. This was actually back when I was still feeling pretty ill. And so my time was very precious to me, and it was exhausting for me to actually like set these up and meet with people because I just couldn't talk. And my voice was giving out. And so as I went through the process, I had my first 4, and they were all really good. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't even need to set up the other 2 because I've got at least 2 in these 4. Why should I interview all 6 if 4 is good enough? And I know that I've got at least 2 out of these 4. I can take them. But what I struggled with was that there were actually 3 really good candidates. And I only needed 2 positions. And so I had this dilemma of like, who do I choose? Which one is the right one? What if I choose the wrong 2 out of the 3? And am I going to regret that I let go of Stacy? And I sat on that decision way too long. Like I had told myself I was going to have it done by Saturday. And I sat on it for another 4 or 5 days, and I still was at a dilemma. When I finally had to decide, I didn't toss a coin, but I might as well have, because I just was like, I don't know. They're all good. I know that there was definitely a number 1, but the difference between number 2 and number 3, I just really couldn't tell. And so it was this same issue of like, that there's one best right employee. And I thought about this concept. And I said, Corinna, what if either one would be a great decision? If I chose Stacy, if I chose Hannah, that Stacy will lead to one really awesome future staff, and Hannah would lead to another different but really awesome future staff. And what if it doesn't matter? I didn't have this like burning intuitive sense that I had to go one way. And I feel like, I guess in that moment, I had this thought of if I'm just feeling kind of ambivalent about it, maybe they're both equally good and it doesn't matter which choice I make. And that really freed me to just take action and choose one of them. Another metaphor that I like to use for this is the idea of a chess match. When you're playing chess with someone, as you get closer to actually capturing the king, there are many different paths to getting to checkmate. You could move your rook, you could move your little horsey, you could decide to do the bishop and then slash with the queen. Like, there are many different routes to getting to your success line. And I think sometimes we get trapped and we think, no, there's just one way. There's one set of moves to get the king down, or to get to my promised land, or to finish that goal. And I want to just offer you today, like, what if there isn't just one best right way? What if that's a myth? What if there are multiple opportunities, multiple ways to get there, and they're all different, but they would all get you there? Maybe some would take a little longer, but in the process, you would learn something really important that would serve you later in the future. And maybe this option over here would be shorter, but it would lead you to discover some different people that will be important to you in the future, right? They're all going to have different positives and negatives. It's not necessarily like better on this side than over here. What's important is the trajectory, right? It's the progress that we're making. It's making a step towards our future. Even if that means we have to take 2 steps back later, eventually we zigzag our way and we get to checkmate and we get to our goal. We're dealing right now with a decision where we have to change the physical location of one of our remaining CSA pickup sites. And we had warned our customers of this last fall. This is different than the Port Clinton situation. Our Sylvania pickup site is going to be having construction this year, and so it's just not going to be a place where we can meet up. This is one of our really big sites, and we have not yet found a location. We've been putting it off, and we're starting to have questions from our customers. They're like, where is it going to be? And I told Kurt, I was like, we got to get on this. We got to start making a decision. And one of the reasons we've been hemming and hawing about it is because it's been hard to find a place. We actually did spend some time a few months ago driving around, looking for a location, a parking lot that was big enough that could handle all of our traffic. We didn't want it to be off of a main road because we have had issues before where we've tied up traffic lights and we've had the police come and tell us we're creating a disturbance because we have so much traffic from our customer base coming through the site. So we look at this actually as an opportunity. At first, we're like, this really stinks that we have to switch sites. And now we're choosing to see it actually as a blessing because we probably needed to make this move, right? This is probably the universe's way of forcing us to do this because it's been causing some problems and we've just been afraid to try and go somewhere else because, who's going to take us in? This is we're kind of a disruption, and are we even going to be able to find a place that would be big enough? It's just a lot. It feels like a big decision, a lot of work. And I'm worried that we're going to lose customers because they're going to say, this is inconvenient. I have to drive an extra 5-10 minutes out of my way now. Anyway, there are all these things, right, that were holding us back from taking action. And I've been leaning into this principle all week long. And I've been telling Kurt, I'm like, listen, we just need to take one step. Let's just take one step and let's go and look at Google Maps and try and find the big open spaces, that represent parking lots and just identify where they are. Let's make a list of 5 places that we could go drive around and look at and then go and ask the person. Let's just make the list. And so we didn't think about all the steps that came after that. It was just the first step. And we actually took action on that a few days ago, and now we have a list. And in the process, one of the ideas that came up was the one that I think is going to end up working out. It's one of our former chefs who has now gone big time, and he's now like a bakery, and he's got this huge facility he just bought where he's going to be baking all his croissants. And it's got a huge parking lot. It's kind of out, not in the middle of nowhere, but it would be great. And I'm like, oh my God, Chef Nixon, we should ask him if we can use his site. And I just saw Kurt's face light up. We'd never considered that. And I know our customers would think that's really cool. Anyway, I have a feeling that's going to be the one that works out. And it all just kind of fell into place at the right time when we chose to just take one step forward. That decision tree option wasn't visible to me 7 days ago, but now suddenly it is. And I just feel like it's going to happen. So today, I want you to be thinking about the decisions that you're putting off, the projects that you should be working on that you're not taking action on because you feel like it's too big, too many steps, or it's too overwhelming. Or maybe you're telling yourself, I have to wait until I have more information before I take a step. Today, I want to challenge the idea that there is one best right way to do something, that there's one best right way to sell or market, and that you got to wait until you got it in place. My friends, this is what the process of testing is all about. In the marketing and sales world, we start out and we do not know what we're doing. We put together our system the best we can at first. It is our beta. We put it out into the world and we see what happens. And then we tweak it and we optimize it and we test it. Maybe we test a Facebook ad and it doesn't work very well. Okay, let's try this one. Oh, well, that element seemed to do better, so let's keep that element, but let's add this one instead. Right? We're constantly testing. Testing is an important and necessary process of getting to our finish line. It is important to fail and mess up along the way. That is how we figure out and how we zigzag our way up the mountain. It is how we get our way to checkmate. We have to lose some pawns along the way, right? There are so many different ways to get to your finish line. So today I just want to challenge you, don't stay in one place and not take action. Take some kind of action, because that's the trust fall that's required by the universe, by God, to see that you're going to take a step in faith. And when you do, that is when I will release the next nugget. That's when I will reveal the next decision tree option for you. And it is a trust fall, my friends, but this is a principle I've seen time and time again. So today, as you think about all the things you have to do, and as you begin looking ahead at the beginning of our growing season and our sales season, at least here in North America, I want you to release this idea of there's one best right way. And I want you to take imperfect action in whatever project you have ahead of you, and do it proudly, do it boldly, do it with confidence and with faith, and trust that what you will need to do next will be revealed once you take the step. Where is this landing with you today? What did you hear? What's coming up for you? I want you to listen to that. That's your intuition talking. And I want you to take action. All right. That's all I have today. Thank you so much for joining me. Today's show notes can be found at mydigitalfarmer.com/261. If you liked this episode, please go share it with a friend, copy the link, text it to someone and say, I think you need to hear this. Or you can write me a review on Apple Podcasts. You can send me an email or write me a little postcard and maybe I'll read it over the airwaves in a future episode. Don't forget, if you want to get onto my email list, I have some free stuff to send your way to make your marketing better. You can go to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe to get that. And I would love it if you would hang out with me on Instagram. I mostly hang out on Instagram stories a few times a week when I have a tip to share or a piece of inspiration. I'll share it in stories. It's usually a marketing tip. I'd love to connect with you there. And I'm looking for podcast guests. So if you know someone who would be great on the show, trying to get one guest a month for the remainder of the season. So reach out to me at mydigitalfarmers@gmail.com and we'll see if we are a match. Thanks for joining me today, you guys. I believe in you. Have a great week. Bye-bye.